Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and this is the reason why I haven't been making content lately on either Twitch or YouTube, because me and a couple of the community members were busy trying to create a community patch. Now this community patch has over 100 things changed in this video game. Now in this video, I'll be reading through the list, and I will be showing you exactly how to install it. Now I have the 0 in the background just before I switch on how to make it. Now, this doesn't use cheat engine or Gibbed, so no worries on that. It is a community patch, so, you know, this is all what the community wants. It highlights everything from gun changes, item changes, like grenades, shields, class mods, and everything like that, to drop changes, and yeah, there's a lot in this. It completely changes how the game plays. Now, you're gonna have to watch through the whole video to know exactly what this is, because this is not gonna be like a short one. This is probably gonna be like 40 minutes to an hour, because I'll also be reading through the changes that I've done. Now, another thing, I'm gonna show you how to hex edit, because you're gonna have to also switch two things about the Borderlands2.exe. Now don't worry about it, this is just a simple method. I'll include like everything in the download link, just so you know what to do. Like the tutorial should be like clear enough on how to install this thing. But yeah, I'll get to the tutorial, and then I'll answer some questions, and then we'll read the list together. Alright, so we're back here at my desktop to show you how to install this mod. Now, first of all, I'm going to give you this file, which will include three things: the installer of the hex editor itself, the patch notes, and the patch itself. Now, originally I wanted to give a patcher that gave you the Borderlands2.exe, but it seems like Steam has a special value in the Borderlands2.exe that if you try to give it to someone else, like, it won't work. Steam will automatically replace it, and if you force it, it just simply won't work. So that leaves us with one option, is for you to hex edit your Borderlands2.exe. Now this is very, very simple. It's not that scary. You're just gonna have to replace two values, and then you're done. Now the first thing you want to do is back up your Borderlands2.exe. That is very, very important. I tell you again, because if you screw up, then, you know, there's no returning back unless you can somehow find a new Borderlands2.exe. Now, you want to install this program. For the intensive purposes of this video, I uninstalled and restored everything to where I didn't have anything. Now, it's, you know, whatever. Just click next. Yeah, I mean, who reads the terms of service? I do complete, but it doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, you just wait for it to install. Now, I don't have an SSD, so this is going to be very slow, but hey, it's one reason for me to upgrade my hard disk. But yeah, it really sucks that, you know, I have to show how to hex edit, because really wish that you can just replace your Borderlands2.exe, but it just doesn't work like that. Plus, I think even if I distribute the exe itself, that breaks copyright. Alright, now you can just click finish. It's going to ask you to restart your computer. Press no, don't worry. This is just for functions you won't use. You don't have to restart your computer, that's not needed. Now you have the thing installed. Now what you're going to have to do is locate to where your Borderlands thing is. Should be local disk C. Should be here if you're 64 on 64-bit Windows. If not, then this, but for the most part, most people have 64. Go to Steam, and then go to Steam Apps, Common, and then this is your Borderlands 2 directory. Now, it should be like this. Now go to Binaries, Win32. Okay, now this is where the Borderlands 2 exe is. Now what you're going to do is right-click it and go to Hex Edit with Hex Workshop. That's going to open up this fancy thing. Now you see there's a lot of numbers and you're already scared. Don't worry. What you're going to do is just search for the value and then replace it. Don't worry. It doesn't look scary. This is very easy. Now what you're gonna do is I'm gonna put this value in the description just so you can copy paste it very easily. All what you're doing is two things here. You're removing the the default say command so you can have the full console, and the set command to be enabled everywhere. Just so it's very easy. You're only gonna have to do this once. So all you have to do is go to edit and find, set it to hex values, and then you put the value here, and then you click OK. Now it's gonna find this. Now as you can see, it has 7 things inside of it. Now you see the 85 over here. Right next to it there is a C0. What you're gonna do is highlight it and replace it with FF. Wait, no, that's not it. Yeah, replace that with FF. Hold on, why is it not doing it? There. Now, after you've done that, sorry about that little failure. Apparently it didn't work right. Now it should be FF. Now you've successfully replaced it. I'm just checking if the values are right. Yep, that's right. Okay, so after you replace that with FF, that's the set command done. Now that was easy and simple. You can always undo if you screw up, but make sure to back up your Borderlands 2 exe before you do that. That means you just copy paste this into another file. Make sure to do that, because I'm not responsible if I screw up your Borderlands 2.exe. And then you're gonna have to do another find. Now you're gonna have to set it to text string. Just replace that. Set it to Unicode and match case. These things are important. The values here say, now this is case sensitive, so it has to be all lowercase. Then click OK. As you can see here, it has found it. Now you're gonna replace all the values here with zeros. So for here, 0, yeah, 0, 0, 0. That's it. You're done. Now, how to know that you removed it? There was a say thing here, now it's completely gone. That's how you know how you modified it or not. And then you click save. It's gonna ask you to make a backup, because just press yes in case you forgot to make a backup, because even this makes backs up for you. So you should be done with that. Now, one way to know how this works or not is if you open up Borderlands, and then wait for it for a second because Steam is very slow. How to know this is you can just do a test, and if it says command not recognized, that means you have the full console. If it didn't work, you should just type it in chat. That's one way to know how to indicate whether it worked or not. Damn it, Steam. You had to be slow, huh? Okay, here we go. Yeah, boot it up. Just click play. This is going to be slow because I am on monitor capture, so I'm going to switch to the other capture soon enough. Alright. And then, one another thing I'm going to have to show you is how to enable console. I guess I didn't show you that in the beginning, but I'll show you here later. So I have a console thing enabled. You type in test, it says command not recognized. So now you can do commands. This is the full console enabled. So my method has worked. Now, I'm going to show you how to enable console. This is very, very simple. All you're going to have to do is go to Documents, My Games, and then Borderlands 2, and then Willow Game, and then Config. Just like that. And then Willow Input, in here, you will see the console key. Somewhere here. It should be below. This is the console key. Mine is set on F6. Now, once you save that, now you gotta make sure that your game is not running whenever you do all of these. Now, I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit complicated with the hex editor, but once you're done with it, you can even uninstall this thing. You should be done. Now, all you've done is just you have the full console now, so you can enable the patch whenever you want without having to use anything else. But yeah, now you should have the full console enabled. Now, these are two things. Showed you how to enable console and the other thing. The other thing is I'm going to have to show you how to install the patch itself. This is very easy. Now, you just have to copy this. This is the whole patch in a text. You're going to have to locate to binaries again. Just this is where your Borderlands 2 exe was, but go back, instead of Win2, just go back into the normal binaries. This is where you can execute the custom commands from here. As you can see, there are a lot of them. Just paste this right here. Just paste the whole thing in here, and you should be good to go. Now this just includes a whole set of commands. As you can see, this is a very, very, very big patch. I've been working on this for quite a while, and it includes all the changes done in it. Now, I have a list of questions here. No, that's not. You're not supposed to see that. Does it work on console? No, it doesn't. Unless you magically find a way to edit your Borderlands 2.exe, which breaks the terms of service. You cannot do that on console. This is PC only, unfortunately. Now, good thing, you can play with people. This is, it works on multiplayer. You can play with people and you can join them. I've tested this, and I can guarantee you it works. Now, there's another question: is if you have a suggestion, or maybe you feel like a change is not, it's unfair. That's fine. That's completely fine. You can leave them in the YouTube comments, and I will look at them, because I need some feedback on the patch. This is patch within quotations, not an actual patch, but you get the point across. One other thing. I'm stupid enough. I didn't show you how to actually run it. Now you're gonna have to do one simple thing: execute patch.txt. That should execute it. That's how you execute the patch itself. Now, I hope I did a good job in explaining things, because I kind of suck at explaining things, but that's why I told you to watch the whole video, because I might forget to do something or something like that. But I really did try to do my best, as this is sort of scripted, but I went off the script a little bit, but that's fine. That's okay. This is how you execute it. Now, if you wanna boot up your game, you're not gonna have it automatically. You're gonna have to execute it every single time, since this is per session. That means, you just have to boot up your game, press your console key. You can press up, by the way. You can just press up. That brings up your last entered command. You can just press enter. So it can't get more easier than that. You just press this, press this, press this, and there you go. You're done. You don't have to do anything else. And it's better if your friends execute the patch too, for more stability reasons, because I actually changed a lot of the items to the point where they're not the same items anymore. That's it whenever it comes to the patch. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. I can't think of any other question, but now, yeah, there's another one. If none of what I said works or anything like that, make sure to go back and through the video like at least 3 or 4 times to make sure that what you're doing is right, because I did replace my Borderlands 2.exe. This is another one, and I replaced it. So if it worked here, it should work for you too. So just make sure you review everything and make sure you got everything right. I put everything in the description. I put the values in the description. I put the download thing in the description. You should be good to go. Now we're gonna go through the change log or whatever. So I will see you in a second. All right, so we should be back into the patch notes now. Try to clean it up. So as you can see, this list is not small. It's 100 items. It's a lot of things. Okay, so let's start with the guns. Made the Bearcat consume 2 ammo per shot and buff the damage by 120%. Now, the Bearcat usually consumes 6 ammo per shot, and that's it. It's only a triple Grenadier, which that's why it kind of made it bad. Now, it still sucks. I cannot fix that. What I can do is buff it, because the projectile type is the problem, because comes back and kills you. Now, I made it a little bit like it's usable now. It's way above the average now, but that's that's kind of out of my league. But it's at least I gave it a little bit of buff here. That's the first thing. The second thing is the Unforgiven. Now, I buffed most pearls. The Unforgiven had a problem where it just didn't do enough damage, and the fire it wasn't justified by it. So I buffed the damage a little bit and buffed the crit thing. I think it does 150 crit. Well, it does do 150 crit. So it's like it's basically like a sniper pistol now. The fire rate is increased, but it's not. It's 4.7 I think now instead of 1.8. So it's more usable now. It's definitely better. It does kill things like it should. The Tunguska has got a buff, and now it consumes 1 ammo per shot, and it does more damage. Slightly below a Torque Derp, but it's not 9 million anymore. It's like 12 million or something. It's better basically. It still has a large radius, but I think I can modify that. But I think I like that about it. Now all of these I haven't touched. It's because of one simple thing that I'm gonna get back to. This is just indirect buffs because I changed I buffed bandit assault rifles. As a result, it buffed all the uniques of it too. Buffed the Godfinger and made it not a bolt action. I didn't buff it. All I did is remove the penalties from it, the damage penalties, because it's a goddamn pearl. Pearls are supposed to be good and overpowered. That's the point of them. Made it non-bolt action. Now it acts like a purple Jacob sniper instead of having a bolt. It reloads and acts like one. And I also slowed down the projectile speed so you can get the effect more. You have to be. It's more of an acceptable range now. You don't have to be that far for the effect to take on. So even if you're using it normally, it's like you're using a normal muck-a-muck. Now this is something that a lot of people are gonna like. The tidal wave is now the flare from pre-sequel. Yes, this is fully the flare. It has a name, it has a red text, and it has the same attributes and effects. Now you might be saying that's a little bit too much, but it's not. You have to choose between a Lady Fist and a flare, and that's really a hard choice. I kind of encourage this a lot in this mod, as you can see. There will be a lot of quest items that are good, and so you don't know which one you want to choose, because you either choose between the best pistol in the game, arguably, or a really badass shotgun. That's it. Here's another one. Made the chili not slag you, because it was just one attribute, and made it Malone barrel just so it looks nicer. Nothing much to say about it. Buff the storm. It just does, I removed the penalties from it, like the fire and damage penalties, or they didn't have a damage penalty. I just increased the damage slightly, and it does more dot damage. It does 200,000 now. So it's a bit nice. Now it kills enemies faster. It should be just like an average Snyder, but it's a bit better at least. So at least now you have more of a reason to use it. I just did what I can because I still don't want to set the values to be too high. Buff the Cobra and the Trespasser. Now these are just like the Madhouse here. These are indirect buffs, but I'll get back to them because I didn't actually touch them. These are just indirect buffs, as I said. Buff the Logan's gun. It consumes 1 ammo per shot and does more damage. Now I tried removing the fire rate penalty, but it was too much overpowered, really, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna keep it like that. It still does good. I tried making it available in all elements, but it just didn't make sense because the point of this patch was to just make everything seem vanilla. That's all. Now this is something that a lot of people are gonna enjoy. I buffed the Bandit Assault Rifle weapon type majorly. Now whenever I say majorly, it's not much. I did a lot of things to it. The damage increase was a little bit. I don't want to say too much, but it puts it like right in between Vladov and Dahl, I think. But it's because Bandit Assault Rifles are the weakest weapon type in the game. by far. They just don't do enough damage. They have slow fire rate and freaking high reload speed. So it's, yeah, just gave them a general buff. They should be pretty good now, just like all the other weapon assault rifle types. Buff the Seeker, just up the damage a little, slightly, just so you know it's more usable now. And I think I increased the fire rate just by a little bit, not too much. So now it should kill enemies pretty good now. But the Devastator, I removed pretty much most of the penalties because this is the only other torque pistol, and you have to kill a raid boss for it, so I think most of the Seraphs should have no penalties. I mean, at least make them good and worth, you know, fighting G4. Now, most of the penalties are gone. Most of the penalties on the Devastator are pretty harsh. I removed most of them. I said most of them. I did keep some, but it shouldn't, like, destroy the gun completely. It doesn't have slow projectiles anymore. It's more faster. So it should kind of compete with the Herald, but not really. It's definitely up there. The damage is definitely up there too. I also upped the damage slightly, just so you have more options than just using a Herald for an explosive gun. Buff the Wanderlust. I did some things to the Wanderlust. I added 3 projectiles. Now it shoots 3 instead of whatever it shot 1 before, so it shoots more now. It consumes 2 ammo per shot instead of 3. I thought that was fair. Now it should kill things pretty efficiently since it shoots 3. Basically up the damage slightly too. So the Wanderlust should be better. Because most of these weapons, I'm trying to make them, I'm trying to make them good and above the limit, which is, at least make them more usable. That was the point of them. Made the Pitchfork consume 1 ammo per shot. 2 ammo per shot. I thought it was, you're still gonna burn through the ammo. I mean, you still have the Lyuda, so at least made the Pitchfork a little bit. I made it compete a little bit. Made the Longbow correct rarity. Just made the Longbow E-Tech instead of legendary because it was set below E-Tech. Because there's a rarity which is a legendary below E-Tech. I just set it to E-Tech. Fixed E-Tech snipers. I just made them consume 1 ammo per shot. And I removed the stupid crit C penalty. So that should pretty much make E-Tech snipers superior to normal snipers. Which is how it's supposed to be because originally it just consumed 2 ammo per shot. Which I guess is fine, but the stupid penalty that removes crit from you is, it broke the gun. So now they should compete now. Fix the E-Tech assault rifles. All I've done is just remove the crit C penalty, or negative crit, because crit C penalty actually doesn't exist, just type A but negative. Find that in the code. So they should be better. They should crit more now. I definitely fixed their crit because that was the biggest problem. They still consume 2 ammo per shot because 1 ammo per shot is just overpowered for assault rifles, so it's fine. Made the Varrock consume 1 ammo per shot. I mean, you have the Kitten. Kitten fires the same as the Varrock and it consumes 1 ammo per shot. Why does the Varrock have to consume 2 ammo per shot? I just made it 1. That's the only change I did with them. Fixed the E-Tech shotguns. This excludes Hyperion because Hyperion ones were already good according to the code. But I basically made them do more damage. That's it. That's all I've done. Made them do more damage so you can kind of use them, but not really. They should suck less, basically. Made the Kurame usable. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that. It doesn't have splash yet still. That's in the pellet, and I cannot modify that because it's too complicated to modify splash. But I removed most of the penalties on it, increased the healing to 12%. So, you can use it more now. I made it Mal 1 barrel, so because fuck the Hyperion barrel. Made the Butcher have 2 extra pellets. They should make the Butcher better because now the Butcher is not usable unless you have Practicable on it. Now by me putting 2 extra pellets on it, it means that whenever you get it, it always has 5 pellets. So basically, as you can use it without having the vertical accessory, and if you have vertical accessory, it has 7. I mean, that's good because it's a pearl. It's supposed to be powerful. So it should compete with weapons like the Conference Call Interfacer. Made the Stinger have a faster build and 10% damage buff, so it should be better than a normal Anarchist. Just fasten up the bullets so it's more usable, and just gave it a small damage buff, so it's a bit different from the Anarchist. Buff the Hawkeye, just increase the damage because the damage was too low. Just lower down the damage penalty because the damage penalty made it was so low to the point where a Muck out damages it, but it should be better now. I didn't increase it too much or decrease it too much, but it should be like around 800,000 OP8, so it should be pretty good. But the Seraphim, just remove some of the penalties and up the damage slightly. It should be pretty good now. It still comes in fires. I can change that, but the point of this batch was to make everything look vanilla. Make the volcano, or made the volcano, have more damage and 100% grenade splash. Now it shouldn't be worse than a Snyder. It should be better than a Snyder, but it still comes in fire, so yeah. Well, there you go. Balance the Bone Shredder. Just gave it a bit of accuracy and made it consume more ammo per shot, so it kind of competes with the Tattler, because no one uses a Bone Shredder because the accuracy was 30. Now it's 70 and consumes more ammo per shot. I didn't remove all the penalties, I just halved them a bit. Buff the damn Cowboy. Now, I didn't remove the fire rate penalty. Instead, I just made it what it wants to be, which is an assault rifle. Like you know, you shoot it once and it kills the enemy, kind of thing. I didn't buff the damage too much. It still fires pretty slowly, but it was more of these old-fashioned rifles where you just, it's one-hit kill, basically. I like that concept, so I just supported it more. It has 50% Type B crit, and it does 1.2 million damage in OPA, I think. That's still not much, by the way, because it still fires very slowly. And I increased the recoil slightly because you have to have some drawbacks to it. You can't just have everything be like that. Buff the Shredder Fire by giving it 25% more damage. That was the thing that was lacking about the Shredder Fire. It just didn't have some kicking power. All it had is just a lot of fire rate and a lot of willpower. That's all what it had. So it just gave it 25% more damage increase. Buff the Deliverance damage. It was just a slight buff because the Deliverance is just a copy-paste, or it's a copied TDR shotgun, or a purple one, and it didn't do anything to buff it, so I just upped the damage slightly. Just to make it, unique from the others, I guess. Return the Twister back to 100% splash. Yes, this is, the Twister was on the latest patch that was almost 2 years ago. They returned it to 40%, which I guess it's still powerful, but it's, it kind of killed it on accident, because it is grenade splash. I just returned it back to 100%, just the Twister. So it's more powerful now. You should definitely do more damage with it. It also makes it more worth it, but it should be exactly like how it was before the patch. Just didn't like the fact that it had 40%. Made this call match how it was in the pre-sequel. It just has 6 pellets instead of 5 now, because it was really good in the pre-sequel. I upped the damage slightly, but I thought that was overpowered, so I just made it exactly how it was in the pre-sequel. Just copied Gearbox's movements. This is a change a lot of people are going to like. I seriously buffed bolt action sniper rifles to make it worth it. Now, bolt actions are the worst snipers, period, because they have slow fire rate and they don't do enough damage. Now, I also buffed the fire rate slightly, but it should make it worth it because they're supposed to be the 1-kill weapon. I don't know if I upped the value a little bit, but it definitely does more than a purple Muck, but a purple Muck is still going to outdo the blue one just because you have a lot of fire rate to fire with them. So it's sort of like a balance between having slow fire and high damage. Now, this is the buff I was talking about. This buffed all bolt action sniper rifles indirectly. So there you go. This is a change that will at least make you see one and be happy. Now this is to blue plus. This is only to blues. I didn't buff the white ones. They still, because they're whites. I mean, I'm not gonna buff whites, but it's fine. No one uses whites anyway, so it's a good change. Buff the elephant gun. Now, The elephant gun was supposed to be this weapon that had no sight and it's supposed to do a lot of damage, but the damage was still not enough because it still didn't justify the fact that it just had slow fire rate, it just had massive recoil and just didn't do enough damage. I buffed the damage by quite a lot. It should do 3 million in OP8. It still has, I still kept the penalties. It still has terrible recoil, terrible fire rate, terrible everything, but the only thing good about it is the damage. So at least it balances itself out, because once you shoot and you miss, like, you still get the penalties of, you know, you having to wait for this next shot. So it's like a true one-shot weapon. Funny pun here. Buff the buffalo. Haha. Yeah, it's a result of the bolt action ones. Buffed Hyperion snipers. All what I did is just double up the fire rate by 100%. So normal ones are just gonna have a fire rate of 2, because that was one of the problems with Hyperion snipers. They just didn't have enough fire rates. The damage was okay. The damage on the Hyperion snipers wasn't bad. It was just the fire rate. It was too slow. Now, the Invader and the Longbow did get affected, which I had to kind of make an indirect nerf to them, because I just had to return their fire rate back to where it was, just so they didn't have any penalties or, you know, any increase. It just stayed the same. So there's that. Replace the Emperor with a Torrent. This is another thing that people are gonna like. This is another weapon that I replaced. This acts exactly how you expect it in the pre-sequel. It has no sight, or at least you get it with no sight, and it has no delay. And it has the same red text and everything like that. So that's 2 new weapons so far. And I know you can already look at shields and look at that. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Buff the Invader. Just up the damage, because if I buffed Hyperion snipers and left the Invader alone, it's not gonna do much. The Invader still has that. It still has that. I feel like it didn't have the kick power of it. It consumes too much ammo, and I felt like it just needed a slight damage buff. And by slight, I mean I may have upped it a little bit too much, but it's not that bad. I mean, you have a lot of snipers in the game. You have the Lyuda. You have the Pimpernel. If you have the Pimpernel, I mean, at least you gotta compete with it a little bit. I mean, I'm trying to, you know, change the meta here. So yeah, buff the Patriot. I pretty much made it in like that one sniper, the Vladov one, the Droog one, except this one just has the it still has the reload penalty. It's not that big. It's just 4.2. But it should be a better Droog, basically. It has way more damage. So in comparison, it should be better than a Droog now. It doesn't have all the penalties. It actually had terrible penalties. I'm not kidding you whenever I said they probably included 4 Jacob stocks in this thing. This thing really sucked before I had to buff it, but now it should be better than its purple counterpart, the Droog, which is how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to increase the damage and then just like completely kill the gun. That's not how it works. But yes, that's the Patriot. Made the Hornet have 100% grenade splash instead of 80. It's just slight 20% splash buff. It's yeah, should just double the damage instead of everything like that. Just give it a little bit of kick power. The Hornet was already awesome. Now it's better. Made the Flakka have 2 extra plus a little bit of fire rate. Yep, should explain it. The Flakka was only good because of the vertical accessory. Now you don't need a vertical accessory. Now you can just get any Flakka and it'll just have 5 pellets automatically, which automatically makes it good. And then if you get a vertical accessory, it's even better. It has 7 now. And a little bit of fire rate. This is just like 0.1. It's not that much, because if I remove the fire rate penalty, it does break the gun. So I felt like this justifies it. Now, all these 4 are just related to rocket launchers parts. Just made TDR stocks give you reload speed because they give you nothing in the past. Rocket launcher sights, or yeah, the Bandit one gives you magazine size. Torg one gives you damage because I don't know why accuracy. I mean, Torg is damage. I thought that made sense. And TDR barrels and rocket launcher give you a tiny bit of reload speed. This isn't much. It's just they give you something instead of just giving you nothing. So that's all guns. 48 changes. Let's move on to shields. So here's the first one. The cradle's gone. It's the Notch shield from the pre-sequel. Now, if you don't know what the Notch shield is, it's a unique shield that they implemented that has 0 recharge delay. And I thought that was a really cool concept because it was such an awesome shield, and I thought it was a good idea to just replace the cradle because no one uses it. It should be exactly how it is in the pre-sequel. Nothing else changed except you can get you can get inflammable knots and stuff like that. Or you can get elemental resistance on them. I just didn't want to mess with the parts because if I mess around with and give them illegal parts, if you forget to open up the patch, you can get it deleted, and I just didn't want that. Change the rarity of the Deadly Bloom to legendary. Yep, it's now legendary, and it uses the correct skin, as you can see. So now it should just fully be a legendary instead of just being a purple weird shield. Just made it the legendary shield now. Made the WTF shield into the Big Thumper. Yep. You guys now have the Big Thumper in the game. Exactly how it is in the pre-sequel. Nothing changed. Because they did it right in the pre-sequel, just implemented it. Now there is no legendary doll shield, which is fine. I mean, no one uses the WTF shield. It was one of the worst shields in the game, so I replaced it with the Big Thumper. It should have slightly more damage than the Height of Terra, and you should just get it as a wall drop. Now, this drops from Tubby's Hyperius and everything like that because it does directly replace the WTF shield because I used it as a catalyst to implement it. Because with this, I cannot actually add items. I can only replace. So that's why you don't see added or anything like that. I can only change, not add. Reduce the health penalty of the Hoplite. The Hoplite reduces your health too much, which makes it unusable, unfortunately. You do have to kill a raid boss to get it, so it has to be good. All the items should be good. I mean, you did put a lot of effort into killing the guy, so you should at least get something in return. It should be like a normal turtle shield now. I don't know if I may have buffed it a little bit too much, but it should be usable in OP8. And I guess I killed the Wayfarer to reduce your health to 1, but it's fine. You can still use turtle shields for that. Made the Love Thumper use the Purple Bandit skin. It used the Deadly Bloom skin for some reason because it was the legendary Torg one, but it was still using it, so I just made it the Purple Bandit skin, and yeah, made the Deadly Bloom use the Love Thumper one because it was a legendary Torg one. It's just minor detail, it's nothing too different. Buff the Cracked Sash. Should have more capacity. It should just be like a damn good T-tier shield. It has nothing special about it still, but I have plans for that in a future patch. Buffed the Punchy's damage. Now, the Punchy was supposed to be this one-hit melee shield where you deplete it and then you do a large amount of damage and then it recharges back again. The problem with it is the damage wasn't enough, so it does a little bit too much damage, I'd say, but it's fine because I also lowered down the recharge delay by quite a lot. So it recharges almost immediately upon you break it, so the roid damage kind of makes up for the recharge delay. But other than that, it should be pretty good shield now. Buff the Sponge. It should be 60% absorb chance instead of 54. Yeah, just added 6%, and I think that makes up for it. Yeah, I think that pretty much breaks it. It should compete with a Sham now because it has you can get in immunities. So yeah, that just made a pretty good shield now. Buff the Impaler, just up the damage slightly because that was the problem. The Impaler it just didn't do enough damage. Reduce the health penalty of the Fable Tortoise. Yep, same as above. Should be more usable because the problem with me not using it was that it reduced my health too much, so it made me unsurvivable. So this should make you use it more. It still slows you down, but it should be better. Oh boy, Relics. Buff the Blood of Terror to 8%. Now, yes, This is on OP8, 8%. It's not flat 8%. It scales 0.1% per level. So yeah, it does make sense that OP8 will be 8% because that's 80 levels. So why did I do 8%, not 4% or anything like that? Because relics are a very niche thing. People only use 3 relics in the game. Bones, Sheriff's Badge, or Deputy Badge. Nothing else. Maybe Sniper Zero uses max ammo, but that's it. No one uses any other relic. So 8% might be a lot, but you gotta realize you're sacrificing a lot. You're sacrificing a relic slot. And you're killing a raid boss to get it. It should be good. That's why I just added it there. But if the value is too much, I'm gonna lower it down. I mean, 8% might be overkill, to be honest, but it's fine. We'll see how it goes. May the opportunity to get Relic give you flat movement speed. Just a note about this, I will add this actually in. Yes, the UI doesn't work. Because Gearbox is a butt. No, I'm not saying they're a butt, but if you add something that doesn't exist on a Relic, it basically removes the UI. What I say about that is, if you look at the Relic, it'll try to mimic other UIs. Like, if you look at it, it'll say it's your class mod. If you look at it, it'll say your shield or your grenade mod or your weapon. But it's none of these things. It doesn't have a UI. If you drop it on the ground, it'll just say core stats, core stats, core stats, or whatever, like default vanilla UI is. But I did put the values. It should be, the lowest should be 32% to 48% at OP8. This is the opportunity relic. I couldn't find a fix to it. This is just the engine's fault. And I cannot add a text to it. So I'm sorry, but at least hey, it gives you movement speed. Made melee relics multiply damage instead of adding it. Yes, this means melee relics are like bone ideations, but for not bones, but like they're like the elemental relics, but for melee basically. This means that whatever bonuses you have, it'll multiply it instead of adding it. It should be in the formula now. So this is basically made it better and usable now. Made all the flat damage relics multiply instead of add. Yes, that means this is just like bones, or made them at least like bones, because they don't just add damage, they multiply your damage now. So they're type B instead of type A, which makes them compete a bit more. Basically give them a buff, so that means if you find one, it's really good now instead of just being like, yay, gun damage. Yeah, it's just like sniper rifle damage and whatever damage. Buff them out to make it worth it. This is just like the melee relics, they multiply damage now, but they're 55% instead of whatever before they were. But yeah, you still have to go Seraph Crystals to get it, so at least it's pretty good. Buff the XP relic. This is by 4 times. I've quadrupled the amount. Now, before I actually made this, I made it 8 times the amount. So at OPA, you get 90% more experience, which I thought that was a lot. Just take a break there, buddy. That's a bit too much. Now, at the lowest, it should give you the maximum, which before you got an OP8, which was like 10% or 12% at level 14. I don't know about level 50, but it should be like 20-30%. It should be like it should make your EVHM grind a bit better, because before I made the buff, it was like something like 7-8%. After I made the nerf from just making it 8 times to 4 times, and it was like 50%. But now it just quadruple your experience. It shouldn't be overkill. Buff the blood relic. I can mess around with the 1% part. I just made it buff it like 62%, or I just made the max health just like the normal one, which was 62%, and on top of the health regen. So if anything, this is just a health relic that just adds health regen. Now to move on to comms. I added a legendary grenadier. I replaced legendary point with legendary grenadier. Boosts Battlefront and Sentry. It has all the Grenadier normal skills. Nothing more than that. And does a bit more grenade damage on the card. Made legendary sniper boost fast hands instead of kill confirmed. Yeah, I didn't like that skill, so I thought fast hands will make the legendary sniper boost it more. Now, just a note, I might actually put ammo regen on the legendary sniper, maybe in the next patch after I get some feedback. There's a typo. Change the legendary anarchist to boost the better half. UI 1 display it. Now, if you see UI 1 display it, that means it's there, but you just can't see it. That means it's just gonna say like 4 skills, but if you go to your skill tree, it boosts 5 skills. That's because this is how Gearbox made the game. All DLC integers won't display there for some reason, which really sucks, but it does boost it. It's a UI glitch. It'll display 4 skills, but it does add it. I've confirmed that. Buff the passive of each layer of Terracom for each character. Now they multiply health instead of just adding health. It should be like adaptive shields now, like at least the health thing that they gave you, and increase the health and the burn damage and the burn chance and everything like that. So they're pretty worth it. And I fixed all the skills of all 6 comms. Went through all of them, and I changed all the skills to make it worth it. Now, each one of them, except for the exception of Salvador and Axton and Krieg, they should buff one skill that the character doesn't have boosted on any other comm. For Maya, it's Inertia. For Zero, it's Grim. And for Axton, I was gonna boost Welling, but it didn't work. So he just has, like, he's pretty much like all survival and plus a little bit DPS. I'm not gonna go through all of them. You can just honestly just look at them if you want, but they're pretty good now. They're worth it. Craig, I just replaced Blood Trance with Feed the Meat, and Gage I made a Sterna stuff to Cooking Up Trouble, and I think I boosted the better half too. So it should be a pretty darn good comm now. It should be more usable. Change the passive of the specialist comm to actually include shotgun damage and accuracy. I shouldn't say include. I should say replace, rather, because include, that means it still has the SMG accuracy, but it doesn't. It doesn't have SMG accuracy anymore. It's his shotgun comm. Yeah, it's just like Salvador's and Maya's and everything like that. It just buffs the accuracy, or it doesn't debuff the accuracy, it buffs the accuracy and the shotgun damage. Just like Roland had his, now Axton has his. Change the shock troopers to have fire rate instead of shock damage. Yep, I thought that was a better passive because the shock troopers is like one of his best comms, but for some reason the passes are just shit. So I just added a small fire rate. Made the anarchist comm boost Myelin, smaller, lighter, faster, and the better half. Yep, it didn't boost any anarchy skills, and I decided to just boost these instead. I thought that made sense. Just have some sort of synergy with them. Just made it a little bit better instead of the other one. Change the Crunch one to have Bloodbath, Taste of Blood, and Stripped Flesh. Yep. Crunch has now Bloodbath. That's the only difference. Made the Slabs comm passive type B. That means instead of just being out of the formula, it should add into his health. That means you're just gonna have more health with the Slab class mod. Now all these 4 ones are just related to Gage. As you can see, all these 2 ones, the UI won't display it. That means it's there, but the problem is, yeah, the UI it won't show up there. But it's there. It does exist there. But the UI won't display it. If you go to your skills, it does boost it. I've confirmed it. It does work. But yeah, Sweetheart just buffs fancy mathematics. And the passive should multiply your health instead of just being out the formula. Oof. And yep, just like made the class mods just better. Now to grenades. Only 4 of them because grenades are not that bad. Made the O negative come in 0 fuse. The fuse sense says this one was actually 0. Yep, it should look like a non-zero fuse one, but I did test it. If you toss it, it blows up immediately. Buff the normal TDR of bad grenades by 33%. It shouldn't be 33%. It should be more than that. I think it's more like 50 or something like that. But it should be like, it shouldn't compete with the fastball, but it should it should be right there with the fastball. Not with the fastball. I mean, in OPA they do 3 million damage instead of 2 million. But I mean, I made them more than just, you know, vanilla grenades at least. They're more usable now. Buff the leash damage. Yep, it was 500% penalty. I just made it 200%. Made slag grenades more reliable slag. Yep, just doubled up their grade modifiers. So they should slag more basically instead of, yeah. And now for the final 10. Loot midgets now drop legendary shields. Yep. They didn't before. The value was set to false. Now they should be able to drop the legendary shields. And added the Shredder Fire as a drop from Bonehead. That was originally in the loot book. They said that he's going to drop the Shredder Fire. They lied. Well, I made that true now. Blue has a chance to drop the Heartbreaker. Yep. I thought that made sense. Boom Boom have a chance to drop the Skyrocket. Again, this is just to encourage people to... Well, people sometimes don't have the DLC and they want to obtain the Skyrocket. So adding it to Boom Boom... I thought that was a good thing. Of course, it's still 30% or whatever chance, so it's like the same chance as a bonus package. Main Nisha have a chance to drop a Fire Bee because it wasn't obtainable anywhere else, so I just gave her the Fire Bee. Made Clayton have a chance to drop Flame of the Firehawk. Yep, this is if you want to farm for a Flame of the Firehawk. Made Henry have a chance to drop the Love Thumper. Again, yeah. Just made it farmable now, and Wellham drops the Bouncing Body. Now I was originally gonna add the Grog Nozzle to just be a drop from the Golden Golem, but unfortunately you cannot do that because you have to load the area first to do that. It's just how the DLCs work. There are a lot of limitations, so unfortunately there are a lot of I wanted to make more drops than 7, but hey, I mean, at least you have them now. I mean, at least you have. It's better than 0 at least. Made Iridium auto pickups. Yeah, made everything else that wasn't that didn't auto pickup auto pickup now. Oh, okay. That's 100 changes. Now you're wondering, there are no skills here. Skills are a very niche thing, so I decided to add. I decided to add the skills in the next batch because they're a very niche thing and I wanted to get more feedback on them. And plus, like, if I'm gonna have to do them, I'm gonna have to do them via hotfix, or at least, like, you know, play around with the hotfix and see what I can do and what I can't do. That's like kind of a technology I don't have. So releasing it and getting your guys' feedback, it'll help me, you know, understand and do more with them basically. But yes, that's it, really. I mean, Jesus, this took me about 2 weeks to make. This was a single man's. I mean, the whole code was made by me, not the code, but the patched file. Yeah, it was all made by me, but it was with the help of community. I went ahead and asked almost every single person that played Borderlands 2. Not everyone, just mainly content creators and the community itself for suggestions about this. Just because this is a community patch, not a Shadows patch. So, I really do hope you guys like this, because this took me quite a while to make. I might make a tutorial on how to make it soon enough, but again, it's so complicated to do. Like, it took me a while to figure things out, and especially with Gearbox's limitations and everything like that. I do hope this makes a positive feedback, and to prove that we can do a lot without an SDK. 100 changes, guys. Hope you enjoy it. Please spread the video. Please share it with everyone you know. Please leave a like. I really want support on this video. I mean, again, this took me quite a while to do, and I do hope everyone enjoys this mod. I'll see you guys in the next video.